Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to the evening Bhagavad Gita Satsang session, 6 to 7 p.m. Before we begin our session, let us offer our prayers to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Welcome again to the first chapter Bhagavad Gita discussions from Bhagavad Gita as it is. So we have studied until verse number 14. So today let us study verse number 15 of chapter 1. So chapter 1 is titled Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. So observations being made by different personalities is what we can see in this chapter. And especially the observation being made by Sanjaya, wherein the Bhagavad Gita's live telecast was happening within his heart. By the mercy of his spiritual master, Srila Vyasadeva, was happening, and he was directly relaying or informing Dhritarashtra of the what is happening on the battlefield. That is one observation. And secondly, we saw the observation of Duryodhana on the battlefield, and he was very much in anxiety that Pandavas have gathered a good number of soldiers and they've got a good army now. And all this has happened in a very short time. And he went around to meet Dronacharya, his military teacher, to discuss about the seriousness of the situation. And he also alerted all the different exceptional heroes on his side who are all ready to lay down their lives for him. And specifically, he tried to speak to Bhishma and keep him alert from all sides. And Bhishma also, observing Duryodhana, he sounded his conch. And then he informed Duryodhana that he is ready, he is alert, and he will fight valiantly. And then as soon as Bhishma sounded his conch, all the Kaurava side warriors and the other soldiers, they sounded their instruments. It was mentioned in verse number 13. The conchs, bugles, trumpets, drums, horns, they all suddenly sounded. And the combined sound was tumultuous. And so even the soldiers are observing what is happening. Because as soon as Bhishma, the chief commander, he sounded his conch, everybody sounded on the Kaurava side. And the Pandavas were observing, the Pandava army were observing what is happening on the Kaurava army. And immediately, Lord Krishna and Arjuna sounded their conchs. And it was mentioned, the sounding of the conchs of Lord Krishna and Arjuna, Madhava, Pandava, was transcendental. Their sounding of the conchs was not ordinary. Their conchs were transcendental. We understood the meaning of transcendental in the previous session. So today, we will see further what happened on the battlefield. Right? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse number 15. Panchajanyam Hrishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya Paundram Dadmau Mahashankham Bhima Karma Vrikodaraha. Translation. Then Lord Krishna blew his conch called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch called Poundram. So herein, we are seeing in this verse, Sanjaya is describing or observing that now on the Pandava side, Lord Krishna, Arjuna, Bhima, and we see in the later verses, all the other great heroes will sound their conches. And specifically here, we are seeing that the different names of the different personalities is being mentioned. Just like in the verse number 14, Arjuna's name was mentioned as Pandava. It's one of the Pandava, son of Pandu. Arjuna was mentioned. And here, Arjuna is referred to as Dhananjayaha. Right? So we can see very nicely, closely observe this verse, how every personality is named here with his task, what he is known for. Right? So Arjuna is referred to as Dhananjaya in this verse because he helped his elder brother, Yudhisthira Maharaj, in fetching wealth when it was required by the king to make the expenditures for different sacrifices. Yudhisthira Maharaj once wanted to perform the sacrifices. So whereas he didn't have sufficient wealth in Dwapar Yuga, especially the performance of sacrifices means it was a big expenditure. Generally, only kings used to perform the sacrifices, and they used to have elaborate arrangements of sacrifices, and they used to have they're supposed to give a lot of charity to the brahmanas that way. So it's a big event it was. So when the treasury was without any sufficient wealth to perform the sacrifice, Arjuna he arranged the wealth. That's why he's known as Dhananjaya. Dhana means wealth, and he conquered wealth and he brought it, and in that way he's known as Dhananjaya. And here we have to understand one more aspect with Arjuna. Arjuna's position was quite unique. First thing is that Lord Krishna himself, who is the supreme personality of Godhead, who has agreed to become his chariot driver, right? And then secondly, we also understood from the previous verse that the chariot on which Arjuna was seated was gifted to him by Agni Deva, the fire god. And also it is mentioned in the different parts of the scriptures that the white horses which this chariot was being drawn, they were given by one Gandharva named Chitraratha. We'll see the mention of this Gandharva's name later in the Bhagavad Gita's descriptions. So the beautiful white horses, which you can see, was all gifted by Chitraratha. And Arjuna was also gifted with the wonderful conch shell. His conch shell is known as Devadatta. And the quiver, which was inexhaustible, from which he's supposed to shoot arrows, take arrows and store arrows and shoot to the enemies. So both the conch shell known Devadatta and the quiver was given to Arjuna by his father Indradeva. In that way, Arjuna's position was very unique. He had all the help donations from different great devatas. That way, he was very powerful. Similarly, here Bhima's name is being mentioned as Vrikodara, Bhima Karma Vrikodaraha, because he could eat as voraciously as he could perform Herculean tasks. Such as he killed a very gigantic demon, a man-eater known as Hidimba. So Vrikodara, Bhima, is advertised as voracious eater. Right? Vrikodara basically means his udara is very big. He could eat a lot of food, which means a voracious eater. So a person's name is known by his activities. Also, not that simply he could eat only, he could perform very wonderful, big tasks. Said that Bhima had the strength of 10,000 elephants. So Bhima Sena was so powerful that he could eat voraciously and also he could work wonderful works, wonderful tasks. So Prabhupada says that simply if you eat voraciously and don't give any service, that is not good. We must eat sumptuously and give service also. Right? Prabhupada quotes, there's a Bengali saying that Pethe keli pithe soy. If one is given sufficient food in the belly, he can carry more burden on the back. Just like the beasts of burden, like the bulls or even the donkeys. They're given sufficient food so that they can carry heavy loads on them. So Bhima Karma Vrikodaraha. So his activities were very Herculean and very difficult tasks used to perform in that way. And the Shankha, the conch shell which Bhima blew, was known as Poundrau. Poundra. Poundra. Right? It was a Mahashankha, it's a terrific conch which Bhima blew. And the specific mention about Lord Krishna is being made here. And his name is being mentioned as Rishikesha. Rishikesha means Rishika Isha. Rishika means senses. Isha means master. So he is the master of the senses. Right? And in the previous verse, he was mentioned as Madhavaha. Madhava means Krishna's another name, meaning he is the husband of the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. That's why he's known as Madhava. So, Krishna has innumerable names and he has innumerable incarnations. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam. Brahmaji says that Lord Krishna has Ananta Rupa, Ananta Avatara. He has innumerable, unlimited names, unlimited forms. So in that way, Krishna has, he's performing many pastimes, wonderful pastimes in every incarnation. And he has innumerable incarnations. Bhagavata says we cannot count the number of incarnations Krishna has. It is like you cannot count the number of waves which is continuously coming on the beach. Similarly, Krishna's incarnations we cannot count. So in that way, based on different incarnations of Krishna and his different pastimes, Krishna has innumerable names, thousands of names, millions of names. And the scriptures say, out of all the names, different names God has got, the chief and the principal name is Krishna, Mukhya Nama. Right? That is described in the Vedic literature. Srila Prabhupada, when he established his movement, ISKCON. So before, he was trying to coin a name for his movement. So some people suggested that why don't you keep your organization name as International Society for God Consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned that actually God becomes a very vague term, vague name. Who is God? People will not know. But actually, any actual name we can give it to God. The principal name of God is Krishna. That's the reason Srila Prabhupada coined the organization's name, which he established in 1966 in New York, as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That is the abbreviated form of ISKCON. So Krishna, Prabhupada wanted to tell that he is God. We cannot simply mention God, and have very vague understanding of God. Very solid, concrete understanding of God is represented by the name Krishna. Right? That way, sometimes people say God has no name. Yeah, that is right. But he has no particular fixed name, but his names are according to his different activities. Just like when he is known as Devaki Nandana, because Krishna has accepted Devaki as his mother. Devaki Nandana. And he is known as Vasudeva. right? Because he's appeared as the son of Vasudeva. Similarly, he is called Nandanandana, Yashodanandana, Vajendranandana. So, in relationship with his devotees, his names are all, being mentioned. Just like when you say Nandanandana, he is the very dear son of Nanda Maharaj. And he is Yashodanandana, he is the very dear son of Yashoda Mata, his foster father and mother in Vrindavan. So similarly, Krishna is also known as Parthasarathi because he acted as the chariot driver of Arjuna. We are seeing Krishna is playing the role of a chariot driver. Arjuna's name is Partha because Arjuna's mother, Kunti, was known as Pritha. And from Pritha, his name has become Partha. Right? In that way, we can see how so nicely the names are all, nomenclatures are given. Right? Big personalities, or like Lord Krishna and his devotees, their names tally with their activities. Actually, according to Vedic civilization, when the child was born, there used to be Jyotishis, astrologers who used to come and they used to study the horoscope of the child and accordingly suggest a suitable name for the child. There was a name giving ceremony known as Namakarana. What kind of name should be given? So in that way, all this was very authentically done as per the Vedic directions, calculated astrologically what name this child should be given. Because the name what is given to the child should be carrying some meaning of the activities of the life what the child is going to go through, right? So Krishna here specifically we see he's named or he's called Rishikesha. Simple meaning of Rishikesha is one who is the master of the senses, and Srila Prabhupada further explains to us in today's verse that Rishikesha also means he is personally there to give direction to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. In fact, this name of Lord Krishna, Rishikesha, is a very important name, which is elaborately explained throughout the Gita in different contexts. And even in the Bhagavad, it is explained very nicely. We'll try to dwell upon some aspects of this particular wonderful name known as Rishikesha. So Rishikesha, Krishna, is also mentioned in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, is described as he who gives direction to everyone. Here specifically is there on the battlefield to give direction to Arjuna. There in the 15th chapter it is mentioned, Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishtaha mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha. I am sitting in everyone's heart as Paramatma. So this Rishikesha is none other than Paramatma, super soul within our heart. Right? So Lord Krishna, who is referred to as Rishikesha, is actually the owner or the master of all our senses. And the living entities, we are all actually part and parcel of him. Mamevamsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. So we being part and parcel of him, our senses are also part and parcel of his senses. It is a very wonderful understanding. Whereas there are some class of spiritualists who follow some spiritual discipline known as impersonalism. For them, ultimately, everything is impersonal. Absolute truth is impersonal. So for them, right now, the body, what we have got, is only illusion. So this once we get liberated, actually, when we reach the point of liberation, will not have any senses, will not have any body. That's what they think. But this understanding is wrong. Bhagavad Gita very clearly mentions, we'll see in the 2nd chapter onwards, that we are all individuals eternally. We have our spiritual senses. Whereas the impersonalists, they deny the existence of senses of the living entities. And therefore, they are always very anxious to describe the living entities as senseless or impersonal. Similarly, they also say absolute truth is actually senseless. He has no hand, he has no legs, he has no eyes, like that. It is wrong understanding. Whereas very clearly Bhagavad Gita says, right now we have our material senses with a material body, but eventually when we liberate from this material bodily existence, we'll have our spiritual senses awakened. So the Lord is seated in the heart of all living entities, and he's directing the senses of all the living entities. It's a very important revelation Lord Krishna is making in the Bhagavad Gita. But how does he direct? He directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity. Yethamam prapadyante etam sataiva bhajamyam. There's a nice statement in the Bhagavad Gita later on Krishna makes, that as to the degree of your surrender or to the degree of your submission to Lord Krishna also will direct you. So in the case of a pure devotee, like we are seeing the example of Arjuna here, he directly controls the senses of the pure devotees. So Lord here on the battlefield of Kurukshetra is directly controlling the transcendental senses of Arjuna. Very important point is, that's why we're telling the first chapter is very important, that we understand the actual situation of what is what. So practically, Lord Krishna is observing everything on the battlefield. That is one important import we can get from this verse. He is observing, he is seated as Paramatma in everybody's heart, and he knows what is all going on in everybody's heart practically. So in that way, he is observing everyone's mentality, and overall he is having complete picture of what is happening on the battlefield. That is an important understanding you can get from this verse. And specifically, he is seated as Paramatma in the heart of Arjuna, and directly controlling the transcendental senses of Arjuna, because he is a pure devotee, and thus this particular name of Rishikesha is used. Elsewhere, in one more context, Srila Prabhupada explains to us that Ishvara, the supreme control of the world, is seated in the heart of everyone. And not only is he in everyone's heart, but he is also present within the atom. Andantarastha paramanu chayantarastham. Brahmaji explains to us that the same Lord who is seated as Paramatma in everybody's heart is also in every atom. No place is vacant or devoid of the presence of the Lord. This is what Ishopanishad says. Ishavasya midam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagat. Everything is Lord's creation, everything is Lord's existence. So God is present everywhere, and his right of proprietorship applies to everything. So the feature of the Lord by which he is present everywhere is called Paramatma. All pervading personality of Godhead is present as Paramatma. This Rishikesha is none other than Paramatma. And because he is seated in the heart of everyone and is directing the wanderings of everyone, he is also known as Janardana. So Paramatma has many names. So the same Krishna is present as Paramatma everywhere, and is seated in our heart, and is our only true well-wishing benefactor or friend. Surrendering to this personality, Paramatma in our heart, is our duty. So Lord Krishna advises towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita that Tameva Sharanam Gacha Sarvabhavena Bharata. Just surrender unto him utterly, Krishna reveals in the Bhagavad Gita. So let us understand what is this feature of Rishikesha or Paramatma, which we are talking now, of Lord Krishna. The Bhagavata explains that Lord Krishna, who is the supreme absolute truth, he has three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. There's a nice statement in the Bhagavata which says, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnana madvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. So, Lord Krishna has three different manifestations. The first manifestation is called Brahman, which is actually the impersonal aspect of Krishna, the energy of Krishna. From Lord Krishna's body and his abode, there is effulgence coming out. That is called Brahma Jyoti. So realization of this Brahma Jyoti aspect is called Brahman realization or impersonal realization. Very nice example Srila Prabhupada gives us to understand this. It's like we see the sun. Sun has a sun globe and the sunshine, right? The realization of sunshine means it's not that we have understood sun planet or sun globe, right? So likewise, just our realization of sun globe, sun planet itself doesn't mean that we have realized sun God who is within the sun planet. In the Bhagavad Gita later on we'll see 4th chapter, Krishna explains that the present sun God, he's having a name by name Vivaswan. See, actually, the different devatas, there are 33 crore devatas. Every devata has a planet. And every devata's designation is the post, actually. It's like sun god or sun god is the name of a post. It's like we say department of human resources in the government, or irrigation department, or public works department is a post. Minister of public works department is a post. Prime minister is a post. Likewise, the different devatas names, what we see here as Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Surya, Varuna, Vayu, they're all different posts. There is specific personalities with specific names who will occupy that post at a given point of time. So the sun god's name, who is right now ruling us from the sun planet, is known as Vivaswan. Krishna hints that in the Bhagavad Gita 4th chapter. Imam Vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam. So his name is Vivaswan. So he is the present predominating deity in the sun planet. And this Vivaswan instructed the science of Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna instructed him many millions of years ago, to his son, known as Manu. So because he is son of Vivaswan, he is known as Vaivasvata Manu. So the age wherein right now we are going through, the time period, is known as the period of Vaivasvata Manu. All these things we'll understand more clearly as we move forward in our next discussions. So the nice example of sunshine, sun globe and sun god is to explain that what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, what is Bhagavan. All of them are part of whole arrangement holistically. If you see, this is all part of sun. But even otherwise, there's slight distinctions. Right? The sun globe is not the sun god, person sun god. Neither the sunshine is not the person sun, although they are one. This is the philosophy which we'll see in the Bhagavad Gita being explained, known as Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Simultaneously, one and different, and it is inconceivably, it is happening. Right? So, Brahman realization is the realization of Krishna's Brahma Jyoti aspect. There's also God realization, but it is partial realization. And the Supreme Lord, who is actually a personality, is described as Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Brahmaji says, very nicely offers his prayers. Actually, Krishna has a form, Vigraha. Vigraha means personality. He's a person, Bhagavan. So, when you say Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdyate, these three features, these are all realization of the absolute truth. The first realization is called Brahman realization. This is not a complete realization. It is called realization of Krishna's effulgence only, Brahma Jyoti. And further realization is called Paramatma realization. That is also not complete understanding of whole Krishna, complete Krishna. This Paramatma aspect is what we're talking now, Hrishikesha. And the ultimate realization is the realization of Krishna's complete personality. Is known as the supreme personality of God at Krishna. So like this, we have Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. Right? So in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains, what is this, how is this Paramatma, Rishikesha is working in this material world. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam, this statement from the Upanishad. It says, we are all individual living entities and we have our individuality. Similarly, the supreme absolute truth, Lord Krishna, also in the ultimate issue is an individual personality, and realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features in his complete form. A very wonderful revelation Prabhupada makes in the introduction. It's like we understood. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan is all actually part of the complete personality of Krishna. So any partial understanding that he's only Brahman, absolute truth, or finally God means only Parabrahman. This is what the impersonalists, it's a class of impersonalists called Mayavadis. They only think that that is the ultimate realization. And there are yogis who want to realize Paramatma in the heart, because Lord, as Paramatma is in everybody's heart, is in every atom. The realization of Paramatma is ultimate, the yogis think, the mystics think. Whereas the devotees understand that Krishna's Supreme Personality is having Paramatma feature, is having Brahman feature, all this is complete understanding of Krishna. So, when we understand, have the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, that realization is complete with all the transcendental features in his complete personality. So, finally, you have to understand that Supreme Personality, the complete whole, is not formless. God is a personality, is a big revelation. Right? If he was formless, if God was formless, or if he's less than any other thing, then he cannot be the complete whole. Very nice explanation Prabhupada gives. Complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete. So this Supreme Personality, he is the Supreme Nitya, Supreme Chetana. Nitya means eternal, Chetana means conscious. So we are all small eternals, small conscious entities. Krishna is supremely eternal, supremely conscious entity who is maintaining all of us. So further we'll see about this Paramatma feature being nicely explained by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita in different contexts. In one of the verses, Krishna mentions, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshya Arjuna Tishthati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. The Lord is telling that as the Supreme Controller or Supreme Master, I am situated in everybody's heart. Ishvara means Supreme Controller, right? As Supreme Controller, he is situated in Hriddesha Arjuna Tishtati Sarva Bhutana. In all living entities' heart, I am situated. Okay. So in that way, Lord Krishna is controlling all of us. We may say we are controlling our family, or we are leaders of society, or I am a leader of this particular business. I am the controller of this factory. I am the owner of this factory, or I am controller of this big establishment, big organization, or I am leading this political party. So many things people may say I am the controller in different ways. Right? So the different types of controllers we always see. So in that sense, everybody is Ishvara in his own way. I'm having a family of, say, my wife, children. So I'm a Ishvara of my family. So there are different types of Ishvaras. But the Lord is telling that he is the Ishvara of everybody. He is Supreme Ishvara. Ishvara Parama Krishna. This means that nobody is controlling him. Nobody can control him, but he controls everyone. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam. That is the meaning of Paramatma feature. He is Supreme Controller. Right? We may be having limited control of some things, but we are also controlled. Right? It's like in the house, you may be calling controller yourself. I am controller of my family. But when you come out of the house, you go for your work, you may be under somebody else. Some superior person is controlling you. So we cannot be called as Supreme Controller. Supreme Controller is Krishna. So when Krishna was on this planet, physically, nobody could control Krishna, but he could control everyone. That's how he manifested his pastimes. So the Supreme Controller, we have to understand, the Paramatma feature is Krishna, who is controlling everyone. In fact, he controls even Brahma. He controls even Brahma. Brahma is, the original person who was created to create this universe. He's known as Adi Kavaye. The very beginning of Bhagavata, we will get a nice description known as Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye, which means Lord Krishna, through the heart as Paramatma, he instructed this Vedic knowledge known as Shabda Brahma through his heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Hrida Adi Kavaye. Just see, that is known as Rishikesha. This Rishikesha, He's sitting in the heart and he's giving directions to everyone. So somebody may argue that, oh, Brahma was the first creature within this universe. So how could he be instructed by somebody else? We should understand that somebody else is always sitting within the heart. That is the point. Rishikesha, Paramatma. So Brahma is not independent. Rather, he was created by the Lord in his one of the features known as Padmanabha Vishnu. Lord Vishnu as Padmanabha. He was lying on his on the ocean of Garbha, Garbhodaka ocean. And from his navel sprouted a lotus flower, from where Brahma was born. So, Lord is always in the heart of everybody. That Lord is known as Rishikesha. Right? Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishta. I am sitting in everybody's heart. And from me comes mattaha parataram, mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam. From me comes one's remembrance, smriti, one's knowledge and forgetfulness, Krishna says later in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? So that in the heart, what is he doing? Lord Krishna is doing. He's giving us sufficient knowledge how to move forward. And he's reminding us, oh, this is what he's supposed to be doing. And he also provides forgetfulness. So forgetfulness also Krishna is giving. If you want to forget Krishna, Krishna will give you such intelligence that you will forget him forever. This is what it means. Ethamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. It's like the atheists or the demons who don't want to have any connection with Krishna, who want to forget Krishna. Krishna gives him such intelligence that he can speak of atheism. He can write big volumes of books. He can start advocating this philosophy of atheism. So who is giving this intelligence to that person? Atheist. Krishna only is giving intelligence. Whatever atheist is speaking, because he wants to forget Krishna and he wants to propagate that forgetfulness of Krishna, Krishna only is helping him to give that intelligence to him. So in that way, Krishna is giving chance to everybody. Whatever you want to do, you please do. I give you the intelligence. If you want to become atheist, I'll give you intelligence how to become a first-class atheist. We had great examples in the history. In Puranas we see Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, Kamsa, and so many demons. They were all top-class atheists. And if you want to become devotee, then I will give you intelligence also in that way. Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, great devotees. Parikshit Maharaj. Krishna says very clearly that Krishna is always ready to give us intelligence like this. In the Bhagavad Gita later on we'll see Krishna mentions Buddhi yogam dadamitam yena mam upayanti te tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Anyone who is engaged in his service with love and affection, tesham, because everybody wants to serve him. Not everybody. A few want to serve him nicely. So whoever wants to serve Krishna in a nice, wonderful manner, Krishna says that I will give you intelligence. How to come to me. Mostly people want to imitate Krishna. Why Krishna shall be alone God? I am also God. You are God. Right? Like that people want to promote, advocate this atheistic philosophy or want to have competition with God. But we have to understand that we are not supreme God. Right? We always have this wrong understanding. I am also controller, I am also God. But we forget our position. You may be controller of your wife, your children, or in the office, few people you are controlling. But you are a very small, tiny God. But there is supreme God who is directing you. Right? So the claim that every one of us, we are God by some philosophers and some spiritualists, that is wrong actually. We cannot claim that we are God. Krishna can claim because his position is that. He is supreme God. Only Krishna can claim. We'll see in the Bhagavad Gita later on, Krishna mentioning, Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. My dear Dhananjaya, this word, just now we understood. Dhananjaya means, he's referring to Arjuna, that my dear Arjuna, there is no more superior personality than me. There's nobody equal to me, nobody above me. And Krishna has proved it by his own activities. That we can manufacture. God is God from the very appearance. Right? Krishna, we saw that how when he was only 3 months old, you understood in the previous session also, he could kill a big demoness by name Putana. So God cannot be manufactured by so-called meditation and some mystic power. No. You can get some of the insignificant powers of God, but we have to understand how powerful God is. He's in everybody's heart as Paramatma. He knows everything, what is happening. So generally when somebody gets little power, he thinks that he has become God. But he doesn't know how much powerful God is. These atheists, these so-called demons and the great in the history, what the names, what we just now heard, Hiranyakeshipu or Ravana, all of them had got little powers, but they were boasting so much that they have become God. So therefore, the scriptures mention that you may be God in your own atmosphere, in your own jurisdiction. You may think that you have become God. Everybody thinks like that. But the supreme God is Krishna. The statement of the Vedic literatures, Eko yo bahunam viradhati kama. God is a person like you and me. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam. But Eko bahunam viradhati kama. His personality is different from my personality. So what is the difference? Eko yo bahunam viradhati kama. He supplies all the necessities of all other personalities. That is the difference. Whatever everybody wants, Krishna supplies. That is Paramatma feature. God is supplying us everything. In one more context, very nicely Srila Prabhupada explains to us that the living entities, we are all conditioned now. Whereas there are living entities who are also known as liberated. We are known as Nitya Baddha, and there are Nitya Siddhas also. This we have understood in the previous session also. Right? So, whereas there is one supreme personality of Godhead who maintains both the conditioned Nitya Baddhas as well as Nitya Siddhas. That supreme personality is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. This is the point. So, Lord is seated as Paramatma in everybody's heart, and he is fulfilling the desires of all the jivas. And how is fulfilling the desires? The desires of all of them are fulfilled as they are desiring and as they deserve according to their karma earnings. Everybody has some karma baggage we are carrying. So based on you may desire something, but you may not be deserving it. If you are deserving it, Krishna will fulfill. Or if you have desired now, he will create a facility that you will enjoy, or you will try to get those deserve. Krishna will make you deserve, or facilitate to become deserving for that particular aspect of your desire. So jivas and the living entities, we can live in the existential mode of a karmi or a devotee. We have a choice. A karmi means, karmi mode of existence is the material existence of I'm independently existing, I'm independently working. The result, what I'm getting, I'm independently enjoying it, and I have independent power, independent knowledge, independently I have my family, my friends, relatives, I have exchange of love, pleasure, all independent of Krishna. That is called karmi mentality, mode of existence. It is the life what Krishna explains as aham mameti, selfish, I and mine. The attitude that everything in existence is for my serving and serving my family, my people, etc. Right? So there are different shades of this karmi mentality also. Some good karmis are obedient to the laws of karma, and there are vikarmis who try to achieve their purposes without caring for the laws of karma. Vikarma, Krishna explains all these things later on. Karma, vikarma, karma, all these things. So vikarmis are those people who don't want to follow any rules, regulations. They want to just experience sense gratification without any regulations. So in one more context, very nicely, Srila Prabhupada explains to us, we are all actually small particles of soul. Like, we are small sparks, like the sparks of fire, from a big fire. So Lord Krishna is the supreme soul, greatest soul. That's why he is known as super soul. Paramatma is also known as super soul. But the qualitatively both Paramatma and we, Anuatma, are same because we are all spiritual. The super soul, but super soul difference is what? Super soul is that personality who is supplying all the necessities of the smaller souls. Right? So this distinction, when you understand that between individual soul and the super soul, there is a big difference with regard to the position, then we'll be free from all lamentation and we'll have a very peaceful position. When the individual soul, smaller soul, thinks himself quantitatively as big as the larger soul, Paramatma, oh, I am same as Paramatma, he's under the spell of Maya, or because he's forgetting his actual position, real position, that I am subordinate to Krishna. I am ever subordinate to Krishna. I can never be equal to Krishna. So this conception of God being the supplier is there in the other religions also. Just like in the Christianity, in the Bible it is mentioned, and they often offer praise. God, give us our daily bread. That is nice. Accepting that you are getting all supplies from God. That way you're punya. You're a punyavan, or as Krishna mentions, sukruti. You are very pious. So somebody may, the atheists may give an argument like this: oh, what is this God? We are creating our food now. It's like the communists say. Whereas these communists are described in the Bhagavad Gita as dushritinaha. They are miscreants. Now, if anyone goes to the church and temple for asking something to God, actually he's a pious person. Krishna says, artho jignasa artharti. Person who is distressed, with need of some help, some money, he goes and prays to God. At least he's pious. At least he's approached God. One day when he'll become advanced devotee, he will not ask anymore. That's what Krishna mentions. Right now he's at least approaching me. Right? He knows that, why shall I bother God? He's supplying food to everyone. Why shall I ask him food? My food is also there. Let me serve him. This is the higher intelligence. When you advance in bhakti, you'll come to this understanding. Right? So at least approaching God, first step is to approach God and pray for him. So advanced devotee, he has this confidence that Lord Krishna is supplying food to so many innumerable living entities. All the cats, dogs, ants, elephants, everybody is getting food. And I am a small living entity, how much food I want? Will he not supply me? Especially when I become his devotee and I'm trying to serve him in whatever best possible way. Even chanting Hare Krishna, you become a devotee. Hearing Bhagavad Gita, you become a devotee. Right? Ordinary man will pay, ordinary master, if you see, he'll look after his servants. And Krishna, I want to become servant of Krishna. Why shall Krishna keep me in starving condition? It's not possible. This is called faith. So this faith we should have. That Krishna is maintaining me. Prabhupada says this is called advanced intelligence. Right? Advanced intelligence, they understand that why shall I simply bother God? Right? If he likes, he will provide me. Or if he doesn't want me to be fed properly, it is his wish. I may starve. Because according to his plans, everything is going on. Right? So I must simply engage in Krishna's service. That is the advanced way of thinking, advanced intelligence. That's why Krishna mentions to get this intelligence will take many, many lifetimes. If you are not fortunate enough. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate. This type of intelligence, this type of understanding that Krishna, I only want to serve you. Vasudeva sarvamiti. You are everything. This type of intelligence to come is not an ordinary thing. It will come after many, many births of endeavoring for self-realization. So, when you become a devotee in association of pure devotees, then Krishna will supply everything to us. Krishna personally says in the Bhagavad Gita that for my devotee, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they don't have. Right? So this is simple, common sense understanding. Even if a person who is not a devotee is getting supplies from God, God will keep his devotee in starvation? Not possible. Just like the government, although there is prison house, the government supplies the food. Not that because they have gone to the prison house, They are starving. Anybody in the prison house also is taken care by government properly. Rather, sometimes, even unemployed people, they prefer to stay in the prison house because they think that I'll get free food. So anybody who are in the material world, we're all conditioned souls in the material world. We're all actually like prisoners. And we are roaming in different universes, taking different types of bodies. Krishna explains, Brahmayam yanta rudhani Mayaya Ishvara Sarvabhutana Hriddeshi Arjuna Tishtati. So Supreme Lord Krishna as Rishikesha, he is sitting in everybody's heart as Paramatma and he is guiding. Right? And this is confirmed in the Vedas also. Later on we'll see in the next other discussions of Bhagavad Gita that Lord is sitting as Paramatma in our heart. Example is given of two birds sitting in one tree. One bird is Krishna as Paramatma, Rishikesha, and he's simply witnessing. Upadrishta Anumanta. Paramatma is simply seeing. Rishikesha is seeing what you are doing. We may forget what all nonsense we have done in our past lives. But Paramatma, Rishikesha is observing as a witness. And based on our activities, Krishna is awarding different based on our activities of work, Krishna awarding different bodies to us next life. Bhagavad explains, Karmana Daiva Netrena. So who is observing? Paramatma is observing. We are all working and being witnessed by Paramatma and is giving us advice constantly what to do, what not to do. But right now our situation is that we have forgotten Krishna. We have rebelled against Krishna. We want to act according to our own whims and fancies. And just like a small child, he wants to do something according to his own whims and fancies. Parents will want to check him. Father will tell him, my dear child, please don't do this. And if the child is very persisting, very stubborn, very obstinate, father may, out of great hesitation, he may say, okay, do it at your risk. This is the position. Similarly, Paramatma Rishikesha is always guiding us. But when we become very stubborn and obstinate, no, I want to do like this only, Lord will sanction at our risk. But the point is, at the present moment, we are not trying to take his guidance. That's the point. This is our position. Whereas in Arjuna's case, he's accepted Krishna. See, Arjuna's accepting Krishna as his chariot driver is not a simple symbolic thing. It is actually, he's accepting Krishna to guide him all through the fight. He wants guidance of Krishna. This is the pure devotee's position. For a pure devotee, Krishna is guiding him every moment. Krishna has taken charge of the senses of the devotee and is guiding him every moment. That is the meaning of Rishikesha. That Lord, as master of the senses of a pure devotee, is guiding him every moment. So actually, Krishna is the master of our senses. Bhagavad Gita, we'll see later on in the later aspect of the later chapters, we'll see Krishna says, Sarvata Pani Padam Tat. God has his hands and legs all over the universe. So our hands, our legs, what are they? Actually, they are God's hands, God's legs. He is the master. I'm just simply claiming this is my hand. As soon as God withdraws the power of our hand, finished. We don't have any power. It's paralyzed. Therefore, the real proprietor is Krishna. We are not the proprietor. We have been given the facility to use it for a particular purpose. If you misuse for sense gratification, then we are entangled. We use for satisfaction of Krishna, that is the right thing. Then your life is perfect. So we have to realize that all the different aspects of faculties which Krishna has given to us belongs to Krishna. He is Rishikesha. He is the master. Just like we are sitting in our respective houses. Somebody, it may be a rented house or our own house, whatever it is. But finally, the proprietor is Krishna. This is known as self-realization. My body belongs to Krishna. My mind belongs to Krishna. My intelligence belongs to Krishna. I am spirit soul. I am part and parcel of Krishna. Manasa deho geho jo kichu tohar. Nice song by one of the acharyas, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He says, Manasa deho geho. My mind, my body, my house, everything is yours, Krishna. Actually, arpilu tuva pade nanda kishora. Everything belongs to Krishna. Isha vasya vidam sarvam. So everything belongs to Krishna, so you have to use it for Krishna. If you don't use it for Krishna, that is demoniac mentality. If you use it for Krishna, that is devotion. So we have to understand and come to this realization that everything belongs to Krishna, nothing belongs to me, everything is given to me by Krishna. Right? So Krishna is giving us different bodies. Why? Because according to our desires, our karma, Krishna is awarding different bodies. Karmana deva nitrena jantur dehopapattaye. Why we get different body? Based on our desires, our karma. We want that such a body. We have created a body like that, or we have desired to have a body like that. So Krishna will facilitate to get a body like that and enter into that body and enjoy our different desires. Right? So actually, other religions, especially like Christianity and all, they don't believe in these aspects of karma and all. Srila Prabhupada gives his personal experience. When he was studying in college, he was studying in Scottish Church College actually. So in his younger days, there was some professor who was giving lessons to the students in that college. So Prabhupada was also hearing that. So because those people, some religions don't believe in the aspect of karma, so they often argue, if I am suffering or enjoying for my last karma, who is the witness? Some witness must be there. So they don't understand that actually Krishna as witness is always there. As Rishikesha, Anumanta, Upadrishta, is seeing. So some religions don't have the understanding of Paramatma idea at all. They have different ideas, different understandings. But this understanding of Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna is mentioning here, Rishikesha, Krishna is there as Rishikesha. He is satisfying. He's there to satisfy all our desires, based on our deserving abilities. He is known as the master of the senses, Rishikesha. So there's a nice statement by Narada Muni. He says, Rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. What is bhakti? Narada Muni explains in Narada Pancharatra. So we have to serve our senses, use our senses rather. Rishikesha sevanam. By our senses, when we serve, Rishika, use the master of the senses. When we use our senses to serve the master of the senses, that is called bhakti. Rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. That is our business. That is self-realization. Ishavasya midam sarvam. Everything belongs to God, nothing belongs to me, nothing belongs to us. This is called Bhagavata communism. It's like communism. Communists say everything belongs to state. We say everything belongs to Krishna. We never say that anything belongs to anyone. No. None of us have any proprietorship over anything, right? Actually, Bhagavad Gita is giving us a right understanding, known as Bhagavata communism. Everything belongs to Krishna. Nothing should be utilized for our own purpose. Everything is God's property. Krishna has given whatever required for us to use for ourselves. So we should also understand we should take our quota and use that. Then you're not considered as a thief. Then you'll not be punishable. It's like father's property. Each and every son has got the right to live at the father's protection. Ma gradha kasya siddhanam. That is spiritual communism. Whatever wealth is there within this universe, everything belongs to Krishna. We are all sons of Krishna. We have got the right to take advantage of his wealth, right? But not more than what I require. That's all. That is spiritual communism. If you take more, you'll be punishable. That is the law of nature. So therefore, our aim of life should be to understand that this aspect. It is called self-realization. That that I am part and parcel of Krishna. I am serving Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. I also belong to Krishna. My body, made up of 5 elements, Panchadhatu, Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu, is also belongs to Krishna. Everything is Krishna's energy. Right? Finally, we are also energy of Krishna known as marginal energy, Tatastha Shakti. Right? We have been put into this material world because we desired something differently. We wanted to enjoy independently. When we realize, no, our independent enjoyment is not our actual situation. Krishna is the actual enjoyer. Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam, Krishna says later on. He is the actual enjoyer. I am only subservient to him. This understanding that I am subservient to Krishna, subordinate to Krishna is important understanding. Then we have come to the right understanding of our human existence. Right? Then we use our intelligence to serve Krishna. That way our life becomes perfect. And then Krishna, Rishikesha, the master of the senses, will give us constant intelligence direction to us. Just like he's guiding Arjuna. He's giving intelligence to Arjuna. That's why he's mentioned as Rishikesha in this verse. Krishna guided Arjuna through the battlefield and finally Arjuna was victorious. Krishna is guiding Arjuna how to use his energy every moment. Because Krishna wanted the battle. Arjuna was a military man. So Arjuna utilized his military strength for Krishna's purposes. So that is the perfection of life. So whatever energy we have got now, if you utilize it for Krishna's sake, Krishna's purpose, Rishi Kena, Rishi Kesha Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchyate. That is Bhakti. So this wonderful example we are seeing here, that even by fighting, you can be a great devotee. Just like Arjuna, he was not chanting on his beats. He was fighting. But still his Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti. Krishna says, you are a very dear devotee of mine, very dear friend of mine. So somebody may comment that, oh, Arjuna was not fighting, no. He was not chanting, no. He was only fighting. How he became great devotee? Krishna says, because he's completely dedicating himself to me. You are my devotee. You're utilizing your energy to me for my service. Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti. Bhakti is the meaning of bhakti. Utilize energy for Krishna. Then our life will be perfect. So to conclude, here specifically in this verse we are seeing that the different conch shells blown by different personalities on the side of the Pandavas is being described. Krishna is blowing his conch shell named Panchajanya. Arjuna is blowing his conch shell named Devadatta. And Bhima is blowing his conch shell named Poundra. We see further other Pandavas, other personalities, some Pandavas blowing their conch shells in the next verses. So basically it's all indicating that beginning with the Lord blowing his conch shell, they were all encouraging to the fighting soldiers. Right? On the other side, of the Kaurava side, there were no such credits, nor the presence of Lord Krishna. The Supreme Director was not there. Rishi Kesha was not there. Nor that of the presence of Goddess of Fortune. Krishna is Madhava, Rishi Kesha. So, in that way, Krishna's presence was such an important aspect on the Pandava side. So it all indicated that the Pandavas are predestined to win the battle, whereas Kauravas are predestined to lose the battle. And that was the message which was announced by the sounds of the conch shells. So I'll conclude here. Thank you, everybody. We'll meet again the next session with the next discussions. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki